How many of you guys have watched the TV show Master of None? It's on Netflix and it stars comedian Aziz Ansari. So in one episode, Aziz and his friend want to get some lunch, but not just any lunch. They want to find the best tacos in the city. And so you can guess what happens next. They go on a mad 45-minute search on Yelp, on Google, looking for the best tacos in the city, and they finally find the perfect place. And so they walk on over to the location, and they find out that the tacos are sold out. So even after all of that work, they aren't even able to enjoy that food. I love this episode because it reminds me of a similar quest that I went on when I first came out to DC to attend business school at Georgetown. And I was missing my mom's home-cooked Hmong food. And I tried to go on a search to find something that came close to what my mom makes in terms of something that's as great as her food. I failed miserably. And that moment, though, that experience taught me that, showed me a new trajectory for my life. It showed me where some of the best food can actually be found. And it changed my career and led me to find Foodini. And this story starts with my mom and my dad. So my parents came to this country as Hmong refugees after the Vietnam War from the country of Laos. And the Hmong are an ethnic group from northern Laos known for their farming skills and also knowledge of the mountains. And as the US pulled out of the region during the Vietnam War, the Hmong were actually trained by the CIA to fight a secret war in Laos. And as they pulled out, the US did, the Hmong were either left to die or to flee their homes in search of refugee camps in Thailand. And my parents, they left everything behind. And they made their way to a refugee camp in Thailand. And my three older sisters were just little babies at the time. My mom and my dad was 25, and my mom was just 21 years old. With limited education, English, the little money that they had saved up in the camp, they made their way to resettle in Chicago. And so my older brother and my older sister were born not too far after, and I was the last of 6 kids born in Appleton, Wisconsin. So my mom's name is Joa, and my dad's name is Jutsu, and they're the strongest people that I know. They sacrificed so much to give us a better life, and I'm really excited to share with you guys that they're both here tonight. They're sitting in the front row. Love you, Mom. But I didn't see them very much growing up because they were working so hard with multiple jobs, hustling like crazy to support us. But my mom still made time to prepare that home-cooked Hmong food for us. Now, if you're wondering what Hmong food is, it's usually a typical meal is based on really, really fresh ingredients like vegetables and bok choy and really fresh meat made into different dishes like stir fry and soups. And it's all made to be shared family style. And one of my mom's special dishes are her egg rolls. It's the perfect blend of glass noodles, vegetables, ground pork, all lightly fried to perfection. And I grew up eating this food pretty regularly growing up. And I have my mom to thank for that. But looking back, I hate to admit it, but I was actually craving McDonald's and Pizza Hut. And I hadn't yet realized how special her food is. And so it's funny because you never quite know what you're missing, right, until it's gone. And I learned that lesson really fast when I came to school out here in Georgetown. So in 2014, it'd just been 3 weeks into going to school, and I just missed one thing, and that was her home cooking. And so I started to just search for restaurants that made something similar to Hmong food. And I went on Yelp, I went on Google, I looked for Thai food, Lao food, Vietnamese food, and it brought me to the famous Eden Center in Falls Church, Virginia. So I went straight there, and I bought some steamed pork and egg buns. And in Hmong, we call these galampao. And it was so, so delicious. But you know what's funny is that it actually made me miss my mom's food even more. So when I go back home, I always make it a point to make sure I eat some of my mom's home cooking. And it cures what I'm missing when I'm far away, but as soon as I come back to DC, that feeling of missing her food starts all over again. So I wanted to figure out, why did I miss her food so much? And I began to really kind of realize the answer to that question in a pretty funny moment. One of my favorite YouTube channels is called Wong Food Productions. And they created this comedy sketch called What Asian Parents Don't Say. And it's a really fun and thoughtful story about how, in many Asian cultures, parents say one thing, but they actually mean something else. And so a moment that really caught me was there's a clip where the mother asks her son, "Did you eat yet?" And then it switches to what she meant to say, and she says, "I love you. I wanted to make sure you're well fed because that's how my parents said I love you to me." And I thought back to my upbringing, and I don't think my parents said I love you very much, but I think it's because they didn't really know how to at the time. But every time I come home, the first thing my parents ask me is, "Did you eat yet?" And I'm met with a warm hug and a hot plate of food on the dinner table. And so us growing up, we didn't have a lot. We lived on a tight budget. And the food that my mom made, it was one of the things she could share and provide for us. The food she made to nourish us and to care for us. It's how she expressed her love to me and the rest of our family. And I don't think it's the ingredients that she used or the notoriety of her food or her cooking techniques that made her food great. It's that she cooked from her heart, and that's how we connect with each other. And that human connection is what truly makes her food great. And I love what Chef Eddie Wong says about moms. He says, moms know more about food than chefs. And I gotta say, I completely agree, because moms are able to cook not just on the level of making food taste awesome, but they know how to pull at your heart. They know how to give you that warm and fuzzy feeling in every bite. I think sometimes we look for great food in the wrong places. I went on a search for the best, multicultural foods here in DC. Not just to try food or to try different things, but I was trying to cure my homesickness. And I wanted to start by searching for that human connection instead. And as the son of refugees, I know that many immigrant and refugee communities are often overlooked or even discarded. But I know differently. I know that there are so many talented individuals in these communities, but just lack opportunities. Just like my mom, she would have never dreamed of using her cooking skills outside of her own kitchen. So that's where I started. And one of the first people I met was Melissa. Now, Melissa is known for her Lao food and Thai food, and I met her through a mutual friend. So we went over to my friend's house, and Melissa made this huge spread of Lao food. And as we enjoyed her meal together, I asked her, "Why do you cook?" And she said, "I love to cook because I'm able to share a piece of myself with others." And over the past 2 years, I've met with many different emerging diaspora chefs and their families. And even though they come here with very little, there's still one thing that they still have, and that's their home recipes and their food. That authentic cultural cuisine that is a true taste of home. And by talking with them, I realized that their families are just like mine. They cook to nourish and to care for one another. And I'm pretty sure you're not able to find that type of food on Google or Yelp. So that's what I wanted to put a spotlight on people, these incredible people like my mom, to create a space for them to prepare and sell their foods, their home foods, their cultural foods, and their culture to everyone. And that's the inspiration behind Foodini. I wanted to build a business based on connecting people through food. And it's really cool because Chef Melissa was our very first chef at Foodini. And since then, we've featured and hired chefs from all different walks of life. From Majid, who is from Syria, to Mina from Iran, to Wing from the Philippines, and Yibrulim from Eritrea. Now I wanted you to take a moment and to just imagine yourself, you're at home, and you're getting this meal, you're unpacking this delicious food that you're about to eat. And before you take your first bite, you're able to meet the person behind your meal. You're able to read about their story and learn about their passions and begin to build that human connection. That personal connection right there is what brings the greatness out of food. So the next time you are looking for that great meal, maybe take a different route. Forego the latest meal delivery app on your phone and search for that human connection instead. I'm pretty sure you're going to find some great food made by some pretty great people. Thank you.